All right, guys. October continues. Now, this is the summer issue, right? I meant to go over this, but you get busy, right? So obviously, Scary Monsters, the autumn, the Halloween issue is probably going to be coming out soon. But I figured I'd go over this real quick. This film, I remember watching this as a kid in Allentown, my grandparents' house, and being very disappointed, right? Now, looking at it now, and I've seen some scenes of it and look at the photos of it, much better movie than I remember. But in general, once again, just like what I was going over with the horror monsters, scary monsters. It's all comes from the famous Monsters of Filmland magazine. I would argue that Scary Monsters is like 1,000 times better than any of those old horror mags. Okay, where you actually have people who took inspiration from that, and like I said, the people that make this magazine, most of the content is from fans. Right? And they've actually made a very professional, much better, much better laid out, more informative, quarterly magazine. That this is probably this is the highest quality horror magazine in that style that you're gonna have done by the fans. I think that's brilliant. I love that that's the case. It's not a bunch of cigar chomping, cynical dudes trying to make a buck off the kids. It's actually the kids growing up. I keep saying, right? This mag book is for monster kids by monster kids and survives solely by voluntary submissions. Now they also have a mail order thing as well, which is a lot of the magazines had that. You saw that in the back of the horror monsters. And there's always a theme. And the theme in this is like inanimate creatures, like threats that are not that are like the monolith monsters, which are basically just an alien crystals that come to Earth and start growing like mold in your bathtub. So anyway, man, the monster kids getting old. Although I'm starting to notice this. Someone's using AI in some of the art. What are you gonna do? So, that's cool. What is that? What is that? What is that? Anyway, see, that's what I'm saying. When I was telling you about the horror monsters, the photos, and you have more photos, man. Except now you know where everything is from, right? We'll just go quick. I don't want to make this super long, right? This actress passed away. She played Angelique, right? The Dark Shadows. She was the evil witch, Lara Parker. So you're gonna see this is pretty much what's going on, right? Time is passing. Beautiful woman, very beautiful woman. So usually playing like a villain. Of course, she was the villain. She was a witch. But it's just interesting looking at the very pleasant woman. Obviously, it's like another planet looking at the women now, right? Look at that. Yeah, beautiful woman. So, it was interesting. She had a Night Stalker. She actually had a negative experience with Darren McGavin. Actually it doesn't. It makes a bit of sense. Of course, I remember this episode was the fashion one where she plays a witch, a murderous witch killing her rivals in the fashion industry. And of course, Kolchak comes in. There's something she did that he didn't like that. It was a little condescending. But he was known. Remember, Darren McGavin wasn't just an actor. I mean, pretty much he was like a producer and a writer on the show as well. The best show of the 1970s, by the way. But yeah, rest in peace. Now, of course, what was cool about this Godzilla -1, this film really, man, this was an amazing film in terms of as successful as it was, for how it was made and for what it was essentially a post-war World War II film. You know me, always the war. The war, right? Set right after World War II. You can almost smell the charred earth and feel the gnawing emptiness of the survivors' bellies, right? It did. I like that. It didn't adequately equip its soldiers, right? The wartime governments were less than worthy. It's just less than respectful of its Japanese fighting men, right? So, the fact that you could have this movie that shows you that whatever everyone likes to talk about the Japanese and the demographic issue, that's everybody. But there's still something healthy in Japan. Like I said, Japan lacks an element that much of our world has. What is that element? I can't. I think it's like secret creatures from beyond or something. Right? In terms of they love their bombing, don't they? Whoa, what is it? And also the whatever, the idea that this thing won an Academy Award. I mean, even John Carpenter, even like monster kids that are still alive, it was sort of like a, I don't know, how many years ago. It's almost like a 70-year vindication of people making fun of Godzilla films and Japanese monster movies, and it won an Academy Award, man. So anyway, I've gone over this, but this I didn't know. Look at this. They made a TV show. Yeah, that's that whole that monster verse thing they're trying to build up. I don't know, man. I only saw Skull Island. I thought it sucked. I didn't like it. So, but I mean, if he's in this, man, there's got to be something to it. But my friend has seen it. He says he didn't like it. So anyway, just going through. This is interesting. I want to see the Ed Wood, Night of the Ghouls, but like this film, the guy goes over obscure movies. Maniac. I have this on that 50 movies for like $10 thing they used to have back in the day. This movie is crazy, dude. This is a violent ass movie. And I like how they described the director. Right, it was a forgotten outsider in the Hollywood industry, bargain basement exploitation shockers, operating out of a small LA studio. Him and his actress screenwriter wife, Hildegard Stady. Oh man, that would be my dream. I want my wife to be an actress screenwriter too. I mean, such unconventional pot boilers, such as Narcotic, Modern Motherhood, Marijuana, We with Roots in Hell, and Sex Madness. Yo, of course, the wife, I'm sure, was in acting in all the films too. Really cool. And I remember I saw this movie Maniac, and yes, that's the one where the guy's like, agony. They actually would show this and other things. He's like, the guy overacts like you wouldn't believe, but it's funny. Okay, and essentially, the Maniac is just a black cat. Right? It's basically borrowing from the Black Cat, a major, loosely based on Poe. This film, I saw a part of this. I gotta watch this again. Yeah, yeah, Mesa of Lost Women. Yeah, actually, yeah, I gotta see that. And Night of the Ghouls, I never saw this one. This is an Ed Wood film. It's kind of interesting. Another like outsider filmmaker. Oh, Ed Wood. It's essentially this is a sequel to Bride of the Monster. You remember the one with the ghosty? He's got the fake octopus on him. So, but this is interesting. It's funny that Mr. Wood, he plays a juvenile delinquent in this. And he also plays some of the shots from behind of one of the females. Well, Ed Wood, right? It's funny, that movie. That movie was good. That was one of the few Tim Burton movies I liked. Was Ed Wood. Totally not like any. I don't even think anything like the actual story. Like the actual life of Ed Wood. But regardless, and this is weird. This is Princess Ardala. Okay, now there's no photos here. There's just some guy drawing stuff. But let me tell you, man, this Buck Rogers TV show. This and Battlestar Galactica were awesome, man. I remember my dad loved Buck Rogers, and because of Princess Ardala, and Colonel Wilmer Deary. I tell you, man, Erin Gray was so freaking hot when I was a kid. That was the first woman that I was like, wow. And also her, the Princess Ardala. What was her name? She was I forgot her name of this actress too. Hot as hell, man. Yeah, Tweaky's like, yeah, I like this. He's like, bitty, bitty, bitty. Yeah, Mel Blanc did the voice, remember? Yeah, that's right. He's got yeah, Joe Gerard. Actually, man, remember what happened to him, dude? He became like 400 pounds, bro. What the fuck? I actually met her. My fiance actually pushed me to meet her at a convention, and she's like a yoga instructor now. Very interesting. Going through here, how 3 films turned the 80s horror on and said, okay, now we get this whole thing. Remember, I was there. Okay, I was a kid, but I was there. Okay, bro. Okay, and even talking to older adults, they always bring up this whole fantasy of the counterculture revolution. Springing from the rich soil, the counterculture revolutions of the 60s and 70s, right? None of it was any CIA operations or anything, right? Which most people were not hippies back then. Most people were conservative. And this whole idea of the 80s saw a counterintuitive flip From the ideas of peace, love, and community, yeah, okay, to the self-obsessed, business-minded, wishful, wealthful thinking of the yuppies. I never get that. I never get that. The 80s was the me decade. When did you not have capitalist pigs and people being ambitious? Okay, you could argue that maybe, and I'm not, you know me, I'm no shill for the big C, but uh, more people, including, some of my family, were able to rise above their working class origins and actually make a little money through a lot of hard work and stuff. I hate to say I'm not a bootstrap guy either, but what I'm saying is that I sometimes wonder if this little analysis of the 80s is because there are people who are able to actually, afford a house and make a little money. Okay, the wall. Oh, you mean the guys on Wall Street were making tons of money and stealing it and all that? No kidding. So, enough of that. He's talking about, of course, the idea of the VCR. Remember this thing? Right, right. It was a 30-pound box of metal. Right. My neighbor had one, and we would go to his house, his apartment, to watch it, and he would let us borrow it. And yeah, the thing weighed about 30 pounds. So now this person had a home computer. We didn't have a home computer. The Radio Shack. Oh, remember Radio Shack? Yeah, look at this computer. You could play chess on your television. So fitting into the whole analog horror idea, but whatever. Regardless of the same tide analysis of the 80s. Okay, I mean the seeds of what we have now. We're definitely building in the 80s. It's just not what you thought. Okay. However, the films they go over, the stuff. I never saw this film. I gotta see this film. I remember when it came out. I don't know. It seemed like it was a comedy, but it's like actually a pretty. It's one of those films like Halloween 3 that kind of resonates now for some reason. I can't imagine why. Right? But Chopping Mall, Chopping Mall's great, man. I like how it has like a slasher type looking thing, but really, what was the movie about? It was about in the shopping mall and these security things. Now, remember, you go to a supermarket, you see robots now, don't you? Right? Have you seen them? I've seen them. They have them in New York. They even have them here. You're looking around, watching you, so, seeing what you're doing. Who knows if they have like laser beams like these things? And it's funny too. Also, they remind me of like Berserk. But man, this movie's crazy. These kids get locked in the mall, and of course these things go on kill mode and start going after them. So, who's this creep? Talk about capitalist pig, right? Maximum Overdrive. This movie's notorious for being really fucking stupid, but a lot of fun. And I didn't know Milton Sapkowski, which his name's misspelled here. The guy who used to do the Amicus films in Britain. He actually he was a co-producer on this. Interesting. So, of course, the best thing about this film was, of course, the AC/DC song "Who Made Who." Right, Emilio Estevez is in this. Yeah. Anyway, I just the past is the future again. Well, hey, I'm the guy telling you that. So, see, everybody knows, right? I'll have to make two parts of this. Everybody knows that there's something wrong, okay, and that there's something wrong has been in the making for a long time, okay. Taking that instinct and then misguiding it, misdirecting it, like to a different direction, is what a lot of these people do, and some of them don't even know what they're doing. But regardless, whatever. It was still interesting. It was a good selection of films, though. The guy was right about that. So, all right, let me. I have to do 2 parts. Damn it, no more short videos.